I want to pose a question to you. My observations, as well as things I've seen in my own life, as well as the lives of many others, uh, and and the effects that are taking place in the world, the destruction, the wholesale destruction of the natural world, which we should be stewards in fostering the natural world, but is being destroyed and consumed. And you have people like Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates and others putting out this narrative, which was done by people prior people who wrote books or made or directed the agenda and narrative in the past, but was accepted by those and propagated and promoted by those like Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab. Schwab comes from a legacy wealth, which is ill-gotten wealth. Bill Gates, his entire fortune is ill-gotten, and so these are the narratives that they promote, such as picking up the narrative of replacement theory, which is basically let's destroy, let's kill off a massive chunk of the population of human population in the world. And interestingly enough, that 90% seems to be centered entirely on the non-white Western. And when I'm talking about Western, I'm not talking about the whole of Europe, white Europe, or even white Russia. I'm talking about the legacy powers in the West. And that would be your Western Europeans, which includes the Nordic and Scandinavian societies. And those are, of course, they invaded they invaded the Americas and took over the Americas. They did the same thing in India, but quote unquote, they were pushed out. But their legacy left a conditioned and indoctrinated space of the Western ideology, which has always been geared to we want to control the world. We need to control the world. We want everything. And these are the elites. The whole idea of industrial capitalism, which is Marx and Engels thing, which is confused with confused with socialism and communism. But basically, industrial capitalism is basically making the industry work for the whole. So there may be private industry and private capitalists who are the captains of industry, but their whole purpose was to create the infrastructure, to create the modes of production that benefits the whole and allows for the workers of that to self-propagate, to be a renewable source. And if you take care of the workers and so on and so forth, that's industrial capitalism. Socialism and communism that Karl Marx and Engels came up with, basically is what industrial capitalism, the idea of industrial capitalism was, the industrial age. But that whole thing has been corrupted, and trust me when I say industrial capitalism, it's emacial to us, especially if there's no corroborating between the people who actually specialize in progress in technology and everything else that is used by the industrialist, and there's nobody who's done the research, done the on the boot study, and there's no consultation of them and saying, oh, okay, so what are the impacts of what we're doing? That's and you just go forward. If there's no feedback from the people that actually look into it, that actually have done the research and everything else, and looked at it and seen the effects, that's otherwise industrial capitalism is a great way to go. But it unfortunately has the element of money. It has the element of money. It has the element of control of land, resources, production, and all that other stuff. So the industrialists, the industrial capitalists, have overall control. In a cooperative, cooperative industrial capitalism, that'd be a better way. But there's still issues with that, where workers and the industrialists have equal say. They have the workers can suggest policies, suggest how to do things, and so on and so forth. But that's not what happens in the pure industrial capitalist. Means one person is basically the feudal lord, or a small group of people are the feudal lords of that industry. So they get capture of the industry, the resources, the lands, how much you get paid, so that represents a problem. So what this is all boiled down to is a question of, is feudalism dead? And I don't think so. What I've seen, what I've observed, what I feel from the impacts in my own personal life and the impacts of millions upon millions upon billions, I have to say that that feudalism isn't a thing of the past. I have to say that feudalism is alive and well. I mean, just look at what happens at the UN, and I'll give you a prime example. Aaron Mate, who debunked the whole oh God, I forget. It was about the group that goes in and look about nuclear and weapons of mass destruction and so on and so forth. They're the ones that go in and so you're complying with this. I forget the group, but Aaron Mate was invited to speak at the UN about that, He won a Pulitzer for that, and well, not won, was awarded. So, what did he do? He used the term eminence when addressing uh, these high-ranking people in the UN, right? So it's interesting. I looked at a lot of videos from the UN, and eminence and all these all these feudal era terms are making a resurgence. You know, honorable, eminence, so you know, and you'll say, well, that's anecdotal, but is it? Is it? Because if you go back far enough, you'll see that they don't. They may use honorable, but they were, he was, they were using other modern titles, representative or diplomat. These, so, and it was always Mr. This or Miss that. But it's changed. And so something I've been observing, and I've been saying, and I put out videos about it, is basically this entitlement of reinvigorating feudal era style, and the Western world has never stopped that feudal era style of ruling. They may have used words like democracy, republic, freedom, liberty, but it all boils down to it's just virtue signaling. But it's still feudal rule. I've studied feudal time era, and I don't see a difference except for the superficial changes in the wording. So there is I believe there is a push for a neo-feudal rule. And right now, they're not saying that they are aristocracy, that they're nobles, that they're the ruling class, but that's essentially what they're doing. And this change, I think, can. Well, it's not a change because it was always there, but basically, the one that really took this was Reagan. Reagan started through the policies, which have been only gotten worse and worse and worse, and because they've been given this thing to basically do the policies, use the words. And the thing is, the U.S. was never a democracy. It was always a feudal rule. It was landowners, the land, and like even during the first colonial invasions and slaughter, it was the people that had the money, that had the status, who decided, oh, this land, this amount of land belongs to me. This amount of land belongs to me. My rule applies here. My rule applies there. And so, even back then there was serfs, indentured servants. Another word for slaves. And then there was the ones that they are outright called slave, which was the black people who were basically kidnapped and suborned and had to be subservient, even to being killed. This has always been. This is not to say that other places in the world do not have this. Some still openly do it, like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Jordan, and what the hell is the other one? I forget. But whether you call yourself a king or not, or you call yourself a president, you basically the way they rule and run things, they might as well just call themselves nobles or monarchs, because that's what they do. But the Western world, through the use of money, through the use of power, material power, such as the militaries, in political power is nothing more than basically using force through using force. The mafia. If you watch movies about the mafia, you know that they go in and say, "Well, you owe us protection money. You owe us this. You owe us that." What do you think feudal rule was all about? That was exactly that. The mafia heads of the mafia understood that that violence and force will always trump people standing up for themselves. Wild Wild West, and these criminal cowboys who decided they could do whatever they want. They could use force to get it. There's plenty of evidence showing that sheriffs and mayors and all that, they were basically nothing more than criminals, but they had the legitimacy of having sheriff or a mayor or a governor or whatnot. So understand, I don't see how feudal rule hasn't stopped. We may use different words, but it's still the same. So I ask you, do you think feudal rule is dead? Because I honestly don't think so. And I think there's a push to bring about a new neo-feudal age. They may not change. They may not come out and say, "Well, we're aristocracy, we're nobility, we're kings and queens and so on and so forth." But that's basically what they want. And I understand something during the feudal times is that not all the public were subjugated to be peasants and serfs and so on and so forth, because there was always a base that even in feudal times that was needed to become to be brought in to be enforcers, to be the ones that had more say, and they were granted and gifted this, and that's basically what the so-called democracy in the United States is. There will always be a group, and that is where the division, that is where the divide and conquer comes in. That is what they use. It's the same tactics, same agendas, same rules, same ideology. Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, and Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, whether it's the same, Pierre Midyar, and all these other rich people who have gained all their money from ill-gotten gains, and they have all this influence and and of course they're going to buy the media. Of course they're going to be the ones be able to tell you how things are, because that's part of the tactics. That's part of the agenda. That is the conditioning and indoctrination. and you use things like climate scientists who talk about actual on boots on the ground research and to confuse it and to so that you can come up with. And Bill Gates is famous for using that sort of shit in the agenda, and they gear it towards there's too many people consuming things rather than it's the industrial capitalists, it's the so-called politicians who are allowing policies to favor them. It's the militarization of the United States. The U.S. Armed Forces and Navy use up more carbon, create more carbon footprint than 140 countries. The Western world provides 70% of the carbon footprint. Africa has 3% of the carbon footprint of the entire. It's like that's you can see by that it's not really. I mean, China is putting out a lot of carbon footprint now, but think about it. And China, India, putting out a lot of. But the thing is, and they have a massive population. But the thing is China still produces less carbon footprint than the West, and the West has had centuries of head start. So the vast majority of the issues that are make up climate breakdown, climate catastrophe, is a thing of the West. We here in the West, we still put out more carbon than everybody else. So this is what I'm talking about. So it's again, are we really out of feudal age rule? Put your comments in and like and share. I generally don't do that, but I'm going to do it this time.